Hey barbecue fans, welcome to a beautiful evening on the Frankenboo Ranch. Okay, so this evening, we got a special treat for you guys. We've got a beautiful rack of lamb. All right, so a lot of guys don't know what to do with these things. I mean, you can Google a lot of recipes or whatnot. I'm gonna show you guys exactly how to do it. So what I did is I started early this morning with the marinade. All right, so the marinade is 2 tablespoons of fresh rosemary that I just picked out of my garden, and then 2 teaspoons of thyme, and 7 cloves of garlic, 1/4 of a cup of olive oil, and then a little bit of lemon zest. All right, so what I did is I rubbed it all over the meat side of the rack. You can see on the back side I didn't really put anything there because there's not really a lot there. Okay, and I've let this set all day long. Now you can marinate this overnight. You can do it for an hour, or you can rub it on and just cook it right away. I like to let the marinade sit in a little bit. All right, and it's also got a little bit of cracked salt and pepper. Cracked pepper and salt. Anyway, so once you have this thing marinating, and the recipe is going to be posted down below as well, so you guys will have that to follow when you decide to try this recipe out. Okay, so what we're going to do is I've got the smoker all set up for offset cooking, and you can see over here the coals are pushed all the way to the back. We've got the coals pushed all the way to the back. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this rack of lamb and we're going to set it bone side down onto the coals for about 10 minutes, maybe a little less, depending, until it gets nice and charred on the back side. We're going to flip it over and we're going to put the front side down until it gets nice and charred. And then we're going to pull it all the way back and we're going to let it finish cooking to about 125 to 130 degrees. I like my lamb about medium rare. And then I'm going to accompany it with some char grilled asparagus. So what I do with the asparagus is I take the asparagus and I cut the hard chewy ends of them off, and I drizzle it with some olive oil, and then I put some cracked pepper and salt on it. That's it. A lot of guys like to bacon wrap them. I think that's a little bit of extra work. And in this meal, we want the rack of lamb to shine through. We don't want any of the accompaniments to shine through. So we're gonna have a beautiful rack of lamb with some nice grilled asparagus and a beautiful glass of wine too. All right, so let me go ahead and glove up here and we'll get this thing going. Once you guys do this a couple times, you'll get really good at it, and it is just an incredible recipe. So our grill is all set up for about 450 degrees. So we're gonna take this thing and we're gonna set it right here. We're gonna leave that right on top of it for about 5 to 10 minutes. Now you can see I've got a nice little chunk of wood set in here. Once we go to the offset cooking portion of it, I'm gonna throw the wood in there just so we can get a little bit of smoke flavor to it. All right, so we'll be back in about 5 or 10 minutes and we'll flip it over and see how it looks. Okay guys, so we've been on about actually 5 minutes. Our grill is at 425 degrees. You can see we've got some nice smoke rolling off this thing, so let's pull it back and have a look. You can see we're nice and seared right there. See all the juices? Now we're just gonna flip it over, put it right back down on the other side. Cover that up before it starts to flame out. Now, I'm gonna leave this for about another 5 minutes or so until it gets a nice little char on the outside. We're gonna pull it off and we're gonna offset cook it the rest of the way. Be right back. All right guys, so here we are back. Our grill is still at about 450 degrees now. We've been on here. Now you gotta be careful for the flare-ups because the oil will flare it up. You can see we got a nice little bit of char on it here. You can see that thing's looking really nice. I'm gonna put this thing offset, meat side facing the actual charcoal. Then I'm gonna take my asparagus and I'm gonna lay it out here as well. Now you gotta be careful with the asparagus because it will burn. Gotta be real careful here, okay? All right, so we're gonna set this on here just like this. And we're gonna cook this thing. We're gonna cook this lamb roast to 125 to 130 degrees. It shouldn't take much more than probably about 20 minutes maximum. So we're gonna go ahead and let this thing cook. I'm gonna continue to temp it and we'll be back in a bit to check it out and see where we're at. Okay guys, so here we are. We are at 130 degrees and we are done. So I'm gonna go ahead and temp this thing. We're at 133 degrees. So that's just about exactly where I want it. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and pull this asparagus off. You can see the asparagus is nice and cooked, looks really nice. All right, so let's go ahead and slice one of these medallions off and see what it would look like. Ooh, that's beautiful. Look at that. Look at the juice just running out of that thing. So there's one. Let's take one more cut here. And there you go. All right, so that is how you cook a beautiful piece of a rack of lamb. We've got our nice crust on it, which looks really tasty. We've got nice juicy pieces of meat that's cooked to just a little bit over medium rare like I wanted it. I wanted it a little bit over medium rare, more to the medium side. And my dog is going crazy because he wants some too. All right, guys, there you have it. I'm gonna post the recipe for this down in the recipe section. So until next time, keep on smoking it.